Lily Madwhip, Must Die, Chapter 21, Brothers in Arms. I'm still trying to figure out how exactly we're supposed to stop Samael if angels can't be killed. Are we going to split him in half like he did to Nate? Or chop him to bits like someone did to Mott? And then leave him like that? Does that hurt? I imagine angels must not feel pain, otherwise, that would be torture. But pain is a signal your body sends to your brain. If you're in pieces, what kind of signals does your brain receive? Oh my gosh, maybe angels don't have brains. Do angels have brains? I asked Duma. We've entered what he calls a necklace. Dumas had said there was a necklace at the end of every road, so me and other me looked around for an actual necklace lying on the ground when we got here. But apparently the word has multiple meanings because all there was another one of the Vale's doors that Duma opened, and it took us to a weird, subway station looking room. Duma is thumbing a big red button beside a metal door. The door isn't set into a wall, it's just there, in space. There's nothing on the other side. I already went around it 3 times to make sure. I even considered standing on the other side of it, so when he finally gets the door to open, I can be there and shout, "Surprise!" He glances back at me and me. "Are you being derogatory?" I don't know what that means. So naturally I respond, "Yes?" Dumas turns back to the big red button. He doesn't answer my question. I look to other me for a clue about what's going on. She just shrugs at me. Then she points at my hand. "Can I hold the trident for a while?" The trident of Durgal. It's like a big golden fork for eating the world's tallest salad. It kills demons too, supposedly. I cut Ma open with it, from front to back. He didn't die, though. He just yelled a bunch and then got run over by a giant ball of knives. I don't know. It has a mind of its own. I hand her the trident, but it seems super glued to my hand. I even uncurl my fingers, and it sticks to my palm. Yeah, see? It doesn't want to go with you. Other me grabs the trident further up the handle and tugs. It's funny. I don't even feel them pulling. The trident absolutely refuses to move. I laugh at the weirdness of it. But then, she puts a foot up on me for leverage. "Hey, don't do that!" I shove her leg off me. Lousy me being so inconsiderate. Would I really do that to someone if I wanted to hold a trident? Let alone doing that to myself. What is wrong with you? Maybe that's why it doesn't want you to hold it. She steps back and frowns. But I held it earlier when I gutted Mott with it. No, you didn't. That was me. I did that. You didn't exist yet. It must be really confusing to her when she remembers doing stuff that she didn't do. Stop arguing with yourself. Dumas scolds us both. Something dings like one of those little bells every music teacher has. Ah, here we go. The big red button is lit up under Dumas' thumb bone. He stops pressing it, and the metal door slides open, folding in the middle. A sharp-looking, pointy metal blade suddenly swings out, stopping right in Duma's face. Other me shrieks and dives for the floor. I might have done the same, but she thought to do so first. I got distracted by her diving and didn't dive myself. Instead, I gasp and throw my hands up like I'm going to save myself from anything at all by doing that. "Stay your hand!" Dumas shouts into the open doorway. His retractable scythe snicker-snacks into existence in his other hand. The curvy blade part strikes the metal thing that popped out of the door and pins it to the wall. "Duma!" I recognize Baratiel's voice. Duma moves back from the metal door and its big red button. He lets the scythe drop to his side, and, sure enough, Baratiel steps through. He's wearing what looks like armor that a knight would wear, only it's bits and pieces. A chest piece molded to look all macho and beefy, 2 shoulder pad thingies, a couple thick bracelets, and a pair of shiny metal boots. The pointy thing that he jabbed at Dumas is the end of a long polished spear made entirely out of metal. I bet it's silver, or platinum, or some other precious metal that normal people make jewelry out of. What happened back at the breach? Baratiel looks confused. What do you mean? You took Samael through the tear and then. Baratiel runs his fingers through his hair nervously. 'Twas Abaddon. He subdued me while I was carrying Samael back to the pit. Our brother took Sam's shell and told me that there had been another reform adding of leadership. He seemed unconcerned that I might resist. Little does he know that I resist in my own way, by organizing others. He gestures with his head back through the door. I peek around the door frame, but there's nothing there. In fact, the door is closed on the other side. I gotta remember to keep thinking in dream logic while I'm here, because the veil is totally a living dream. Duma raises one hand. Friend or foe, brothers? I wonder what he could do with just one hand, especially against another angel. I've seen what Samael could do, but he was in a copy of my body and had a rune written on his hand. Duma's hand doesn't even have skin on it. Baradiel thumps the spear against his hunky metal chest armor. I stand with the Podestate. Several voices from behind Baratiel also speak up. One says, I, and another says, as do I. So it's not just Baratiel. This is a huge relief. Not that Baratiel is disappointing, just that the more people we have on our side, the better. Baratiel turns to me. Lily, he nods. Then he sees other me lying on the ground with her hands covering her head. And a friend? That's just a scaredy cat, I tell him. We're going to. Quiet. Duma hisses at me. His eye sockets furrow into a frown. He turns back to Baratiel and the others in the door. Who else is with you? Baratiel faces the rest of his group who I can't see. I wish they'd all just come in. Or we go through to them. I want to know what's on the other side of the metal door. What was Duma pushing that big red button for? Is it an elevator? My money was on an elevator. Maybe one full of those necklaces he'd talked about. I still haven't seen a single necklace. Not even Baradiel has one on. Angels don't wear jewelry, I suppose. Fancy, beefy-looking armor. Sure, but jewelry. Nah. Maybe they turned all their jewelry into spears. I brought the few we can trust. Munkar and Nakir, Kushta and Azrael. With each of the weird names, someone on the other side of the door says something in acknowledgement. I don't know what their words are, but they probably have meaning to angels. The last name I recognize. Azrael, that's Gargamel's cat. That's also the name of the angel who built the cleaner ball. Duma had said before that he didn't think Azrael was on our side if the cleaner balls were after us. Duma also remembers this. He stiffens at Azrael's mention. Azrael, he calls to the other angel. If you stand with the word and the Podestate, then explain why your creations attack us. Baratiel grits his teeth in an eek face and then steps aside, turning swiftly to face the accused. He brings his spear down and points it into the doorway. You know, it's really stupid. I'm only witnessing half the action here, so I walk over to stand next to Dumas and also face the accused. After all, it was my Rambo rocket launcher that blew up this Azrael guy's baby ball. For some reason, I was imagining Azrael to be small. I don't mean cat small. I didn't actually think he was a cartoon cat that talks and meows. But I thought he'd be like a hunched over tinkerer, maybe dwarf-sized, like Doc from Snow White. He's not, though. He's tall, and he's got big shoulders and a thick neck. He looks like an army commando. Rambo's got nothing on this angel Azrael. Also, he's got eyes. Like lots of eyes. There's the two you'd expect on either side of his nose, but there's also another couple lower on his face that are definitely fully working eyes because they blink and look around. There's more eyes sticking up out of his shoulders, and a pair on his neck. I bet he's got more on the other side of him that I can't see. Maybe some under his equally shiny chest armor piece. If I had eyes on my chest, they'd probably be tired of seeing nothing but the inside of my shirt. Who are you to question my loyalty to the word? He says, in a voice like thunder that reminds me of Darth Vader. I have overseen the pit since the day Abaddon carved it into existence. For eons, I laid bare the sins of mortal pawns while you played soldier with them. Do you know how many times our brother came to me, hissing his poison into my ear, trying to turn me against the righteous cause? You built the cleaner balls, I point out. He doesn't turn his head, but a half dozen of his eyes look at me. They're all the same crystal blue color. They remind me of that boy. What was his name? Kevin? David? Charles? I forget. I just remember he had sad fire eyes and was a little psychopath who wanted to kill me. I blew one up because it was trying to kill us. He still doesn't acknowledge me. He continues to face off with Duma, but he clearly heard me because he says, like all creations, the sanctifiers are not immune to corruption. I haven't controlled the cleaner balls, as your ward so crudely referred to them, since the reawakening. Did he just call me a ward? I hate it when angels get all thesaurusy. Pashkar would normally explain what they're actually saying, but, as usual, he's not at his post. He's off rallying the troops or something in this crazy war we've started in the Vale. Duma puts a bony hand on Azrael's shoulder. He's actually covering several of his eyes by doing this, and I wonder if that feels uncomfortable to Azzy. You must understand why I questioned you, brother, Duma tells him. Please do not hold ill will toward me for asking. Azrael stares. At everybody, really, because he can. Baradiel shifts uncomfortably between the two of them. There are more pressing matters, brothers. He turns his head in my direction. Lily, your friend in the dead man's body. Meredith? Other me chirps, finally sitting up. Where is she? Baradiel is struck dumb for a moment when he realizes the other person is also me. 2 lilies. He glances with confusion at Duma. This is not a construct of the veil. What is this? She's made of dirt, I tell him. I poke other Emmy's arm. She frowns and brushes at my finger. Don't poke me. Duma throws his hands up in frustration. I told you both to be quiet. We don't know who to trust or who is listening. This nexus could be monitored for all we know. You must assume that every word and action is being watched by 1,000 eyes. Other me and I look at each other, and then we both look at Azrael. He doesn't say anything, but after a moment, several of his 1,000 eyes start to frown. He means that figuratively, he says through gritted teeth. Another person steps through the door. It's an angel, I'm guessing. But it's a woman angel. I realize I haven't seen any lady angels in all the time I've been dealing with angels. She's got some sort of shawl or scarf over her hair and is wearing what looks like some sort of robe. But she's also got the fancy metal armor on over just like the rest of them. Her armor is a tan color. Bronze, maybe? I wonder who makes all the angel armor. Do they have a blacksmith like that guy in Greek mythology who made all the stuff for Zeus and the other gods? Vulcan, that was his name. It's weird because he's also in Star Trek, which is science fiction. We don't mean to interrupt, but the longer we stand here, the greater Samael's hold becomes. Not to mention that Munkar and I cannot be away from Barzak for too long, or the work tends to pile up. Her voice is very authoritative, like my mom's was. That means confident. My dad used to call it her executive voice. Agreed, says someone else in the doorway who I can't see. Someone with a less authoritative voice. Yes, okay, Duma says, putting his scythe away finally. I wager there's an army amassing at Peter's gate by now that it would do us well to join. If I know Pashar, he is not one to suffer fools and slowpokes. But what about Meredith? Dirt version of Lily asks the cluster of angels. Bart was saying something about Meredith. Most of the group ignores her. Duma and Azrael start talking about something called the end times as they follow the Lady Angel back into the elevator doors. Baradiel stays behind, watching the rest of them shuffle in with their clanking metal armor, knocking against each other. Someone says, "Pardon my spear, brother," and Duma tells them, "It's not the first time." "Lily," Baradiel says once they're gone, "your friend." Meredith, Dirt Lily interrupts him again. Stop interrupting him, for crying out loud. I snap at myself. He waves his hand at us dismissively. Meredith. Yes, yes. Listen, please. I've secured her at a location I made long ago, one that Samael will never find, nor will Abaddon. In fact, nobody who just walked through the Nexus door behind me will find it either. I will take you, both, there, until this all is dealt with. You'll be safe there. She needs to go with you all into battle, though. I jab my thumb in other me's direction. She scowls in return. I recognize the scowl from all the times I practiced it in the mirror. I know what she's thinking because she's me, but I don't care because she's also not me. Samael has to kill her. Baratiel blinks. I beg your pardon? I don't know. It's Dumas' big plan. He wants Samael to think he's killed me so that he can... something. I didn't agree to this plan, other me says. I mean, technically you did, I point out. Because I did, and you're me. Yeah, but that was before I realized that the me we would make would be me. Baratiel pinches the bridge of his nose, closes his eyes, and shakes his head. All right, well, the one of you that's supposed to die, go with Duma and the others. The one who isn't, come with me. He turns to walk away from the elevator doors. They shut with a whoosh sound. Both of us follow him. Hey, other me says before I get a chance. He said you're supposed to go with them. Holy crap, am I throwing myself under the bus? Really? Don't even try that. I am so not happy with myself right now. You're just a dirt column. When you die, the bit of my life force I breathed into you comes back into me. Duma said so. Baratiel sighs and turns on his heel to glare at me and me. Behind us, there's a ding as the elevator door opens again. Duma's voice calls to us. What are you three doing? The golem is supposed to come with us. Baratiel shrugs. It's pretending to be real so it won't die. Oh, for the love of Pete. I hear Duma's bony feet clacking our way. He shuffles up behind us and puts his hand on the other me's shoulder. Let's go, Lily. Other me frowns as he leads her away. She gives me the stink eye and does that thing we were told never to do to other people where you put your hand on your arm and pump your elbow. I guess I found a way around my parents' rule of not doing that at someone else since I'm technically doing it at myself. I do it back at her, since it's the only time I'm really going to be allowed to. If I die for real, I'm totally going to haunt you, she calls to me. Then, as she walks away with Duma, she takes his hand and starts telling him something, but I can't hear what she's saying. What if she's telling him what I think of him so he hates me? Would I do that to myself? I don't think I would, but I've never been faced with this situation before. I'm kind of a dink. I look up at Baratiel and clench my jaw. He puffs out his cheeks and blows a long breath, then shakes his head. Honestly, Lily, I pity your future therapist. He nods in the direction he was heading earlier and bangs on his chest armor with his pokey spear thing. Let's go. This nexus is going to reset soon. Right, whatever that means. We walk down a shiny white corridor where the walls are tiled like a bathroom floor. There are signs on the walls, but they're in some other language with a completely different alphabet. At least, I assume it's some other alphabet. Maybe it's just decorative squiggles. The hallway weaves left, right, right again, left. If it weren't located in the Vale, I bet we'd find ourselves back where we started. But instead, the hallway eventually comes to a dead end. In the wall, at the very end of the dead end, sits a closed gate made of rusty iron. There's a combination lock on the handle that is shut tight and linked to the outside bars, so you can't swing the gate open. Baratiel stuffs his spear under his armpit and mumbles, "Just a second," as he fidgets with the lock. I play lookout, keeping an eye down the most recent bit of corridor we just came from. The last time I was in a tight hallway like this, one of Azrael's cleaner balls came rumbling out of nowhere and tried to flatten us. I could probably rip a hole in the veil again. Duma's not here to tell me off for doing it. He's also not here to staple it shut like he did before. I get bored watching the hallway do nothing, so I pick up a rock and scratch my name in one of the tiles on the wall. It's not a sharp rock, so it's kind of hard to read. I wonder if it'll still be here when this necklace resets. Here we go, Baratiel says, tugging the lock off. He does a double take when he sees me with the rock, but says nothing. Just another casual head nod toward the now open gate. Let's not keep your friend waiting. Is she through here? I ask, following him across the threshold of the gate and into a weirdly darker, poorly lit version of the same hallway we were just in. This doesn't seem very secret. We continue down this new corridor. I notice that there are signs on this side too, but they're reversed versions of what we passed before. I still can't read them, but it's clearly the same signs because there was one with a picture of a lady making a face like she ate a rotten banana and covering her mouth with her hand. And there she is again. Her eyes are kind of creepy because they look like they're following us. It's not so much that it's a secret, Baratiel says, reaching into the robe under his armor and pulling out a chain of keys. It's more that nobody would think to look here. We turn a corner. There's a big wooden door, like you see in castles, set into the tiled wall. It has a massive keyhole. This thing is as big as a roll of pennies. I want to peek through it and see if Meredith is hanging out on the other side. Baratiel doesn't let me, though. He sticks an equally big, rusty key in the keyhole and unlocks the door. It takes a lot of pulling to get it open. The hinges creak like my Nana's knees. I follow Baratiel inside. Wait, I know this place. The sweaty stone walls, the flickering torches, the empty cages. This is Snakebutt's torture chamber. I don't know why I whisper. Maybe I'm scared Snakebutt will pop up and reveal she didn't totally get her head cut off the last time I was here. Surprise, Lily! I'm a snake. I can't die. Except, I know that's not true because Roger had a snake he named Bluto, after the big guy from Popeye the Sailor. And Bluto died when Roger and my dad went on a camping trip, and I got to help my mom feed Bluto, the little baby mice he would eat. My mom was grossed out by having to feed Bluto baby mice, so I did, but then he choked on the one I gave him. You think snakes can't die, but they totally can. They're just really good at avoiding it. You know, in all my years, I never saw her quite as incensed as when you called her that. Baratiel says, pulling one of the torches out of a metal ring that's screwed into the wall. She had such a temper, but you and that nickname you gave her threw her into such a rage. I didn't know you were there when all that happened. We walked together, me holding his robe because the light from the torches isn't enough to see everything clearly. I remember these cages being full of weird people and monsters. There was that guy with the bat wings. What was his name? And the nasty lawn axe man with the head full of worms who kidnapped my parents. Remembering him makes me angry deep down. I want to blame him for them dying, but he wasn't a bad person. And besides, no, Lily, don't go down that road again. Across the chamber, Baratiel opens another heavy wooden door into a smaller room with the same stonework and fewer torches and no cages. I can barely see anything in here. There's several torches, but for some reason their flames are dimmer, more like the little flickering ones on a gas stove. Chains hang from the walls. One of them jangles. When I squint, I realize there's a person up against the wall, sitting on the floor with their arms over their head at a funny angle. Lily, the person says in a funny accented voice. Meredith? I step toward them. Is that you? Are you okay? Run! She squeaks in Mr. Jin's scruffy voice. Run? And then a heavy hand falls on my shoulder. Oh no. You know, Baratiel says from right behind me, my father is going to be so amused at the prospect of getting to kill you twice. His hand starts to squeeze me. No, that's not it. It's melting. His hand is physically melting down my arm, in the front of my shirt. It runs like wax. I grab his arm and it oozes through my fingers, like Play-Doh someone left out in the rain. I pull away, shrinking back into the darkness of the room, as the torch he was holding slips through his other melting hand, clattering to the floor. In seconds, Baradiel gloops into a shapeless mass, but it still keeps some human-looking features. There's a lump you'd call a head, but it looks like a badly made snowman's head rather than a person's head. And he's gotten significantly shorter too, and paler. Even his armor has turned into the nasty goo. And the spear he banged against it slurps upward into the arm that was holding it. Behind us, the man strapped to the wall starts screaming. No words, just a high-pitched scream, almost like he was getting his nails pulled out or something. This thing that is clearly not Baradiel gurgles at me. No, it's laughing. "You don't recognize me?" It asks in a burbly voice. It flaps its arm parts as they start to form back into normal-looking limbs, but I do recognize it. Or rather she. Ono something. The boogie woman. Her and Snakebutt were Hecate's daughters. The last time I saw her, she had made it look like she was stabbed by Hecate, then stood beside Samael after Pashar and Duma and Abaddon showed up to send Hecate to hell. "What did you do with Baradiel?" I yell at her. She laughs with evil glee like a cartoon villain. "I ate him," I gasp with horror. Baradiel? Eaten? Could she even do that? She can change shape, so maybe she changed into like a dinosaur or a man-eating elephant or... She laughs even harder. "You gullible twit. He's where my father was, where I took his place when you went to visit him. He'll be fine, don't worry. Abaddon has means to set him straight, bring him around to the right way of thinking." Before I even realize what I'm doing, I storm up and punch her right in her waxy, unhuman face. My hand sticks in the goop somewhat, just for a moment, and then sloops out with a nauseating sucking sound. Thankfully, none of her comes off with it, but I have to step away for a moment and fight to keep my lunch down. Ono seems completely unaffected by my hit. Seconds later, she fully forms back into the pasty, pale girl I remember her as. She chuckles even more, watching me gag and hold my fist. Then she mimes rubbing her cheek like my punch hurt. But I know it didn't because she would have said something sooner if it had. "Ow," she moans fakely. I'll show her oh. I focus my thoughts. My fingers twitch. I see the lines in the air that will cut through her in a dozen different directions when I swing my hands. Wait, no. I can only cut 10 lines, 'cause I've only got 10 fingers. Maybe I can learn to cut the veil with my toes too. Then I can do 20 cuts. 10 cuts. 10 razor-thin slices. She's going to need a jug of glue to put herself back together when I'm through with her. "Lady," I say flatly, "you're going to wish you nev..." And then her own fist snaps across the dark room like a giant, fleshy rubber band, and I think I feel my brain rattle in my skull while everything goes black.